In this video, I want to take a few minutes to talk about some prefixes that are a little bit similar in meaning and can cause some translation difficulties for students. In particular, today we're going to look at the prefixes that are associated with coming and bringing, or leaving and taking. We'll start with coming and bringing. The most common prefix used with this is pri, but sometimes students can confuse it with v. In a lot of this, let's look at these two particular sentences to maybe get a sense of the potential differences in meaning. Papa пришел домой and Papa вошел в дом. Besides the fact that we have slightly different forms of the word dom that we're using here, the main difference in the first one, Papa пришел домой, implies that Papa has probably been far away. He's perhaps been at work, and now he has arrived at home, is one difference, whereas Papa вошел в дом, you're emphasizing the entrance, and so you're not thinking of him as having been very far away. And secondly, with Papa пришел домой, he may not have actually entered the house. Certainly you can use it as he's come into the house and say Papa пришел. But it may mean that he's gotten home and he's now hanging out outside on the porch, talking to a neighbor, sitting in the car, gathering things together. He's arrived, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's crossed the threshold into the house. So the entering has more of the sense of crossing the threshold than it has of arrival. Then two other prefixes that are somewhat related to coming and bringing, or at least have the sense of coming towards, are pod and do, which can be a little difficult to distinguish as well, although they're not quite in the same sense of coming and bringing as pri and v might be. Pod has the sense of approaching something from not far away, of coming up to. Whereas do has the sense of getting to a certain point, which tends to bring with it a sense of having overcome something, perhaps a difficulty, perhaps a great distance. Он подошел к окну, he came up to the window. So he wasn't standing very far away, he just walked closer to it. Мы доехали до Нью-Йорка, we got as far as New York. Probably having traveled a long time. Whereas if you were to take a look at мы подъезжали к Нью-Йорку, this sense is we were approaching New York. So this means that you're talking about the moment when you're not that far away and you're getting closer. Whereas доехали tends to probably be a bit more of the entire journey and has more of a sense of it having taken a long time. Do also pay attention with pod and do that they take different prepositions, different cases. At least for working with exams, this is something that can help you pick the right one. Now let's take a look at leaving and taking. The most commonly used prefix here is u. So уйти, унести, ушел. Leaving to go some distance away and stay for a long time. По can also be used in the sense of to leave. We talk about по meaning to set off for. You can say он его нет дома, он ушел, or его нет дома, он пошел в библиотеку, его нет дома, он ушел в библиотеку. Any of those will work. The one main difference is that you can't just say он пошел, except in the sense of you do know those ну пошли or я пошла of I'm going, I've left, kind of a sort of somewhat slang use of it. But you can't just say где Дима, его нет, он пошел. You do have to state where he's going to, where it is perfectly okay to say он ушел. There's practically no difference between он ушел в библиотеку and он пошел в библиотеку. That really have the same meaning. Вы is used when you're talking about coming out of an enclosed space and going not far away or maybe not for very long. So there's a bit of a difference between он ушел and он вышел, especially if you were calling someone at the office and the secretary says его нет, он ушел, then he's probably gone for the day. If you were to call the office and you get the secretary saying on вышел, then you could probably come back and find him later on in the day. Notice also I didn't put it on the slide, but can be used in the sense of to leave whenever you specify a particular time. I think because the focus is then on the act of kind of exiting. It doesn't have to be used this way, but он вышел в 5 часов, he walked out at 5. Самолет вылетел в 4 часа, the plane flew out, left at 4 o'clock. And then we also have от, which is sort of the opposite of под. It means to move away from a short distance, not to go very far. Он отошел от окна, so he stepped away from the window. Поезд отходит, the train is moving away, is pulling away from us, from the platform. Уходит can work in this case too. The train is leaving versus the train is pulling away. There's a slight difference in English too, just as there is in Russian, whereas the поезд отходит, the focus is more on the movement away from the tracks, where поезд уходит is the sense that it's going to be gone soon. I hope that this is somewhat helpful as we work on exercises on Monday.